Hello there, can you hear me?
Hello, Stuart. Hi. Nice to see you.
And you, it's been ages. When was the
I
last time I saw
know.
you?
Oh, I don't know. Probably somewhere creepy like Tottenham Court Road outside the hospital
I think
ages ago.
yeah, I think I did actually. I think I needed like an accessory or something, but how have you been? How have you been?
Really, really well. I'm just trying to get my screen a little bit bigger.
I'm not sure if you want to see this in its entirety, but
Oh, that's better.
wonderful. I just did the same thing, so hopefully we get a nice recording. So, how are you?
Do you know what's really, really nice? Is not only must I thank you for asking me to do this, but to actually speak to somebody without a mask who is in fact a patient.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine there's a lot of protocols still in place in the hospital, so it must take away from the loving to work with people on a daily basis.
It does. It's so much nicer without masks, but hey ho, let's hope the spring brings new things to us.
Absolutely, fingers crossed. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So it's no, actually, I'm really glad that we're having this opportunity to talk today because I made you aware recently of this series that I've been doing, and I'm already on episode 16 or 17, and I thought, where is my audiologist? it's like how can I have covered so much of this series without getting somebody like you on board? So thank you so much.
Thank you, Stuart. I feel honoured to be asked.
Oh, well, the thing is, I do have some questions for you, so hold your horses.
I know. I've made a few notes in case you ask me anything too difficult.
Oh, okay. No, it's what I will say for the people who are watching today is I will say that this is Leah Meerton. She's been my audiologist for 22 years, if you include the assessment process as well. But despite that, there's still so much I don't know about you. And I think, I'd like to dig a little bit deeper. Don't worry, it's nothing too intrusive. How long have you actually worked in audiology, Leah?
Oh, I started in 1982 after I graduated, and it takes quite a long time to become a clinical scientist, and so you have to do lots of postgraduate training. And so I think it probably took me till about 1985 to become fully fledged, maybe longer, I can't really remember. But anyway, 1982 was when I started.
Okay.
A long time ago.
I did wonder, should I ask this question? Because it kind of like makes you realise how quickly
old I am.
No. Not just that, but it's just how quickly time goes by. It's it's been 20 years, 21 years. I mean, you've met members of my family, you've met a previous partner of mine. It's almost like you're part of my journey, and I'm just fascinated by an audiologist's overall development, like what's involved. But is audiology something that you wanted to go into, or was it something that you just gravitated towards, like most of us do with our careers?
Yeah, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I did a degree in biology and statistics. And biology was really my thing. I really liked the human and the plant side of biology. And I did literally fall into audiology. It's a bit of a long story, which I don't want to bore people with, but basically I saw a notice on a notice board and got a place on a course, and I saw the notice on a Friday and the course started on the Monday. So I did literally fall into it.
It's really interesting because when you were talking there, I remember being in the office one day and somebody had left an employment opportunity on my desk to go and work in Finland. And
I remember.
Sometimes sometimes we don't get to choose.
No, but what a fantastic choice it was. And I absolutely adore what I do. Yeah, I should probably be retired and doing something else by now, but I'm not, because I love it too much.
Oh, it will be a momentous day, you know. It'll be, I don't want to think about that right now, and I'm sure there's many hundreds or thousands of people out there who feel the same way. But anyway, it's now people out there might not be aware that audiology covers a wide spectrum. So, for example, people with not profound hearing loss, for example. So you deal with hearing aids, you deal with other types of implants, you deal with cochlear implants. But how long have you specifically been working with cochlear implants?
So I started in '82, and then I worked with, in 1984, I worked with Jonathan Hazel, who was a surgeon at UCLH. He had an honorary contract there, and he actually worked for the RNID. And I was employed as a research scientist and ended up working at UCLH, where they had a very large and specialized tinnitus clinic. And that tinnitus clinic was next door to the implant center. And so we began to, or Jonathan, not me, the man with the brains, Jonathan Hazel, he began to think about whether we could use implants to help people with tinnitus. And in those days, our implant was made next door by our medical physicists, and we offered a single channel implant, which was literally made in-house. And that single channel implant in my day was used to help people who suffered from tinnitus. So because I was literally next door to the implant center, that's how I got involved in implants. And then I moved around London. I worked at Great Ormond Street at the Institute of Child Health at the Portland. Eventually worked for Cochlear, the company that make the implants. And then I did full circle and came back to the RNTNE, as it was then known.
Yeah. See, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this clip with you, because there's so much I don't know about you. And that is a massive, impressive CV. And clearly...
No, it really isn't. But, you know, when you live near London, you kind of tend to stick to the London centres inevitably.
Yeah. I mean, it's you and I are both quite closely situated to London. So that's where a lot of opportunities just happen to lie. So it's... you must have seen some incredible advances, though, during that time. I mean, how does it make you feel to be part of something like this? Because it's certainly not your typical office job.
Oh, it certainly isn't. It's been an amazing journey. I mean, really amazing. I feel very, very privileged to have been there effectively what was the beginning. We had, you may remember, we had two incredible surgeons, Graham Fraser, who sadly passed away, and John Graham.
Yeah.
And they really pioneered, yes.
Just for the audience, he was my surgeon. Yeah.
And they really drove forward, along with, you know, other surgeons in other parts of the country, implants in Britain. But the main changes really have been technical. There's been which haven't really been to do with us. There was a lot of changes in the electrode design, and the surgical techniques now are much less damaging to the cochlea. Implanting children, younger and younger children, and the receiver package, the external components, the size of the processor, the battery life, the accessories, the fact that we can connect to Bluetooth. And I really can't get over making phone calls to my patients. You know, that's something we could never, ever do. And the fact that they can go swimming, you know, with your implants on, it's been just an amazing journey. And I just can't, you know, I'm just so grateful I've been a part of that. Trouble is, I don't want to leave because it's going to get even more exciting.
Yeah, it's you know, as you were talking there, I mean, I asked a question about the advances that you think you've seen, and as you were giving all those examples, I remember my very, very first processor, you know, the body-worn processor. And I know exactly, and now it's all here. I mean, look at this, isn't that amazing? So,
I know, and that's, you know, it's a computer on your head, and that's what people, I mean, even today, when people come in to choose which device they want, lots of people are quite shocked at how big it is. And I think, oh, but it really isn't, considering what it's doing. It's tiny.
Absolutely. In fact, in an earlier episode, I was speaking to another individual who had a cochlear implant from the same centre. And he was paying tribute to the people that did all the voluntary work and all the trials in the 60s and 70s, where they had to
thank the pioneers.
Absolutely. They walked into a room and the computer was many, many, many times bigger than them.
It certainly was, yeah. I know. No, I mean, we have to thank pioneers, don't we? I mean, similarly, at the moment with the vaccination, you know, there were people who had that vaccination first. Yeah, we're very grateful to people like that.
Absolutely. Actually, I was thinking, you know, so this series is all about celebrating and collaborating with others around the same year. I've had 20 years of cochlear implant use. Now, there's one thing that was going through my mind was during the switch on. This is probably a technique that you use with most of your patients, but it really brings back to me the effectiveness of this technology. So what happened was you connected me to the computer, you did some programming, you switched on the processor, which then activated the implant inside. And then while I was looking at my parents, you got up and you walked over to the sink and you turned on the taps. And it just blew me away.
Yeah.
You know, I'd never heard water before. And that afternoon, I heard myself pee for the first time. So I love to bring that anecdote up because it's just people just don't realise how lucky they are to hear every day without struggling.
Well, I don't know whether I'd say lucky. I don't think you're lucky to lose your hearing.
No, I'm talking about hearing people here. People are very lucky to hear every day without having to struggle.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so I probably didn't phrase that very well, but it's so following on from that, what do you think the future of hearing solutions are? So, I mean, do you think cochlear implants are here to stay?
Yes, I think they are. And there's probably going to be improvements in the design of the electrode and maybe speech recognition in noise, definitely remote programming. That's pretty much happening already, but there's going to be more of that. Mm-hmm. And of course, we all hope that it'll be fully implantable one day, because you know, that would be amazing to be fully implantable and not have anything on the outside. And I think some of the other things I'd quite like to see, I'd really like to see the cost come down so that the developing countries can use implants. That would be good. Mm-hmm. And I also think it would be nice if there was some progress to help those patients who don't do as well as you, Stuart, of which there are many. You know, not everybody does brilliantly. Some people really, really struggle. And it would be nice if the techniques, whatever they are, mm-hmm. to help those people. So everybody gets really, really good benefit.
Absolutely. And that's something that I've said throughout this series. You know, I constantly repeat that, you know, the outcome with the cochlear implant varies. But there are things that we can all do. So it really is case by case. Talk to your audiologist, talk to your speech therapist, you know, do rehabilitation at home, expose yourself to noises, ask people, what was that? What was that? So that you can learn what's in your environment.
It's a complicated pathway, if you think about it. Absolutely. You know, there's lots of bits to it, aren't there? You know, it starts with the microphone, and then you've got the transcutaneous connection across to the implant, and then you've got the receiver stimulator, and you've got the implant, you've got the cochlear memory, you've got your brain, and all those bits have to be fantastic for it to work brilliantly. And, you know, some people don't have all those bits.
Oh no. And what I really want to emphasize here is that for anybody who's watching this clip, do not be deterred by all the techniques, all the technology, because you need to know all that. That's what people like Leah are for. So it's just nice to know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got like a multi what's the word again? Multidisciplinary team. Yeah. So you'll have like psychological support. You'll have people that are experts in assessing you for cochlear implants.
Yeah.
Speech therapist. You'll have audiological scientists, audiologists. So there's a lot that comes into play here, and we as patients are very lucky because we just go in and say, we've got a problem, we need your help to fix it, and that's essentially what you do. And
yeah, I mean, the teams are diverse, the teams are very knowledgeable. You know, it's everybody that's on the team has specialized in this particular area, so they are very knowledgeable. And of course, a lot of teams around the world know each other, so we all communicate all the time about difficult cases, about things that are unusual. So we all communicate, and so you'll generally be very, very well looked after.
Fantastic. And I'm sure anybody who's thinking of getting a cochlear implant right now would be reassured to hear that kind of message. But what do you, if somebody came up to me and asked me and told me that they were thinking of getting a cochlear implant, what advice on top of what you've already shared today would you like people like myself to convey?
I definitely like people to be open-minded and not to believe everything they read or everything they hear, but to get a collection of information from lots of different sources and then form your own opinion. I think so read as much as you can, look at all the company websites. And I think one of the best places is meeting people. There are support groups out there of people who've had experiences, good and bad. And so don't just listen to one, listen to several. I
agree.
And form your opinion. And then of course, visit the implant center. Don't be frightened to visit the implant center. You don't have to say yes. You can get all the information from all the experts that are in those teams and then form your own opinion. And you don't have to go through with an implant at all until you're literally about to have your anesthetic. You can say no right the way up to that point.
I mean, I remember when I was being assessed for my second implant, and I wrote a letter back then to say, could I please just have one chat with the surgeon before I go ahead?
Yeah.
And a meeting was quickly organised, and over tea and biscuits, you know, we had a nice conversation. So, you know, you're absolutely right. This process is not a scary one.
No, not at all.
As slowly as you want it to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very well said. As slowly as you want it to be. You don't have to rush into it at all.
Well, when I had my first implant 20 years ago, the waiting lists back then were like 2 years plus.
Yeah.
So I had no choice but to take it slowly. But in that process, before getting implanted, I was put into contact with a group of people in South Africa. And they were telling me about their cochlear implant experiences. So I was doing that knowledge gathering that you just described, you know, listening to stories, different stories. And I think you're absolutely right that get your information from a variety of sources, including those that have been through this very journey. So now I know.
We didn't have the internet then, did we?
I know. I mean, for me, it was emails backwards and forwards. There was no social media. There was no. But the thing is, the interesting thing now is the potential for misinformation is much higher.
Yeah.
So, you know, perhaps I was lucky because I had sources I could trust.
Yeah, and there are many sources that you can trust now, aren't there? Particularly the support groups. I think there are some great groups out there. And they meet as well, don't they, in person, some of the groups.
Absolutely, more so now that restrictions are being relaxed. Imagine that will increase. So now I know you've joined us on your break today. You're working remotely, so I don't want to take up too much of your time.
I'm not actually, it's my day off.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I thought you were working today, so it's I don't want to keep you for too long because it's going to take a long time to, you know, edit this video and get it captioned and get it ready. Again, thank you for today, for joining me today. But is there anything you would like to say either to me or to anybody who is watching this video today? Anything you'd like to add?
I suppose I would really like to say to people who are scared of coming forward or are not certain if they're suitable for an implant, to inquire, to come forward, to meet people, to meet the teams. The teams are huge. They're made up of many, many different professions. And there'll be somebody on that team that you connect with. And I think you can get a lot of information that way. I think all the staff at the implant companies, they all mean well. Everybody does this from the heart. We don't always get it right, but we do try. We try and improve, and I think they should definitely make an inquiry and come forward and find out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what I try to do during this series is be as balanced and transparent as possible. It's a choice, so it's your choice. If you're struggling and you think that having hearing would make your life easier, just come forward. Don't delay.
Don't struggle. Come and find out.
Absolutely. Well, it's lovely to see your smiling face again. I can't wait to see you again. Don't retire before I get to see you again.
Oh no. Well, I hope not. I know I'm old, but I've got a few years yet. And I love what I do, so I can't go yet.
Say that again.
I love what I do, so I can't go yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way as well. So, and I think that's why we connect so well as well. So it's good to have passion for something, you know, especially when it's related to your work, because we spend so many hours a week at work. So, well, I'm going to say goodbye, and I will be in contact with you very, very soon. All right.
Thank you, Stuart. Thanks so much for asking me. It's lovely to see you.
Andrew, it's lovely to see you too. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
The next episode will be episode 19, the penultimate episode of this CI20 series. In the next episode, I will be focusing on some of the questions that you've been sending in, and I will be answering them in turn. See you next time. Bye.